Hey guys, I'm here in Wichita with Battalion Chief Nick Woods, and he is going to give us a tour of the Fieldcomm unit, which is one of the nicest mobile command posts I think I've ever seen in my entire life. So I'm super excited to dive in and see the details in this.
Just here on the outside, we wanted to make sure that if we loan it out to the cops or anyone, that they know that it's fire departments. No, it was kind of a funny design concept. We're like, what if we put some kind of Halligan bar or something on the side, you know? But there's a lot of little elements in it that came through pretty nice, you know. But yeah, so the bus, as you see, does have awnings that come out. They work pretty well. Kansas can be a challenge. Like today is great. There's like no wind, which never happens. But anytime over like 18 miles an hour, they'll auto retract back in. So we have challenges with them sometimes if it's a little windier, but overall not bad. The unit itself has 4 slide outs, 2 on each side, and we'll kind of look at that once we get inside. You can't operate without the slide outs out. It's a little cramped in there, but it can be done. Underneath the belly of the vehicle is kind of just like any other transit, kind of long over the road bus where there's storage from one side to the other, this whole width. So under there we store additional equipment, and it's kind of specific to whatever deployment we're going on, whether that be wildland versus USAR or any of that. But we'll store, you know, some of the basic tables, chairs. We store like the weather station under there when we're in transit, some of that other stuff. So it's just kind of a failover for all the various storage. The bus was designed in mind, and I don't have the phone set up out here, that the people on the interior are not as much as possible disturbed by anyone just walking into the command post. So the way we usually handle it is we can put up blinds and stuff around the windows up front, lock that door, and then all the entrance and coming in and out of the command post is here at this door. The idea was to limit some of the interaction. We actually do have a phone that mounts here, and we set up a board of who's sitting in what positions in the unit, and they can simply pick up and then call any of the positions, any of the seats within the unit. Additionally, here we have the capability to do briefings if we need to. This unit has a multi-source video matrix switch in it, so we can pump in drone video, we can bring up local TV, the computer. There's multiple spots in the bus where we can project out here if we need to do that. And then the bus, we also have just a Wi-Fi hotspot out here to provide some coverage. The unit does have lights on board, 4 on each side, that we can take off and use for scene lighting. This compartment here is simply the mechanism for our air actuated mast that you see on the rear of the unit here. That provides 2 PTZ cameras on top of it, 1 thermal and then 1 regular PTZ, along with, there's a couple antennas on there for 2 onboard repeaters that we have on site. So we have our own kind of standalone 800 megahertz repeater on board and a UHF. So we can utilize that kind of wherever we can. If it doesn't cause interference here locally, of course it won't, but if we deploy, you really got to pay attention that we don't interfere with anyone else. Some additional batteries that are in this compartment. The shoreline of the unit here, I don't know if they have it open, but if we want to actually plug this unit in at the station and not run it off the generator, it takes a 100 amp shoreline. So it definitely, it pulls enough juice for a small house. So, we have that. And then around here in this compartment is the 20 kW generator to run the unit. And usually what we do, at least when we deploy with this, if we're going over the road, is we'll fire that up and basically it never turns off. We'll keep data. There's some systems on board we like to keep running while we're going en route and have network capabilities inside. So we just kind of start the generator and go. The unit holds, I want to say it's 150 or 175 gallons of diesel. And the idea is that this unit can deploy and be self-sustaining for 72 hours. So it handles very well over the road. Actually drives very, very nice. So like I said, additional, this is just the other side of the underbelly storage. It's a little easier to get to without the slide outs out. And then I think you've kind of noticed too, if you look up front, there's multiple cameras around the unit to kind of provide that security visibility around the unit, and we have that up on the screen inside where you can kind of see that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the outside. The bus is split up into mainly 2 compartments, which this one is incident command, and the back is usually comms and kind of overflow for everything else. There's this set up to have 4 workstations in this bench seating, and 2 additional positions can be set up here. You just simply flip the seats around, and it has provides workstation. One of the things we thought of after the fact was when this unit deploys, we can only deploy technically with 2 people on it because there's only 2 seatbelts on board. But we also didn't really take into consider that we may or may not be sleeping on the bus at an incident. So what we should have done was made this bench seating actually fold out, to like RV style bed. It's still not bad to sleep on, but that was kind of just one of the little things. Once we got it and kind of got out, started doing some deployments, figured out, oh, that would have been kind of a nice thing to have. We have slept up to like 6 or 7 people in this unit before. So it provides a nice night shelter if we don't have night ops going on. Up here, we have multiple TVs. Like I said, the unit has this Extron video matrix switch where we can kind of put anything we want on the TVs. There's multiple inputs, like here in the desk even. There's data hookups, there's HDMI inputs, so we can set a laptop here and project onto the unit, and it's the same in the rear as well. There's just a lot of inputs that we can put different stuff up on the TV. Currently on here, this is just Apple TV. We have that on board mainly for distribution of images. So if people come in or taking pictures out on the scene, they can put it up on there for the incident commander. We've done some even hazmat entries, using basically FaceTime or projecting that video onto the TV as well. So we can do that. That TV currently has our thermal camera that's on the mast on board. And then these other 2, the front monitor and this one, just have the normal PTZ camera. We do have, of course, the CAD, our current CAD system on board. This is just kind of the web monitor, and it's kind of just a generic overview of what's happening in the city. So we have mapping, and then you can there's a bunch of tabs here you can configure how you want, but this is kind of the overview where we can quickly see where the units are, current calls, and then you can scroll through and also see unit status of what is or not available. This is a brand new system for us, the Tyler CAD, so we're kind of learning as we go, but I think long term it's going to work very well for us. Just some little things too. Each one of these stations, has a workspace there where they can set up. We do have IP phone system on board as well. And like I said, people from the outside can just call into an extension and get anyone sitting in any of these positions. All the radios up front are all tri-band Motorola. Everything on this bus now is all tri-band Motorola. We used to have kind of a mix, and then here this last communications purchase, we swapped them all out, so just everything's all band now. So we kind of have the ability, like I said, there's four mobile radios up here. Within these compartments are just kind of various supplies, batteries, HDMI cables, iPads, spare computers, remotes for TVs, ICS stuff. We have field operation communication guides, and then just more T cards, all that kind of standard ICS stuff. The bus can mainly all be controlled from this screen here. There's a screen located in this room at our main breaker panel, and one at the front of the bus where you can kind of control all the operations of this bus. This is where we can fire. This is where we fire up the generator. This can also provide control of the interior, exterior lighting, all your HVAC controls. Provides checklists for the drivers, gives you all your warnings like our mast is up. So there's just a lot of kind of nice features with that. It's not currently deployed up top, but we do have a weather station on board that's also tied into a computer in the rear for our hazmat decision-making software, so we can get actual on-site weather measurements instead of, because they can, sometimes out at the airport it may be something completely different from where we are, and it's only a few miles, so we like to have that on board just for some decision-making purposes. Getting here, starting in the gallery, there's just some miscellaneous overflow here for cleaning supplies, spare antennas. We also store a lot of large ICS charts in here that are kind of with our logistics cache back. One other thing I didn't mention is all of this is whiteboard. So all these surfaces can be wrote on, and then in between both front and rear also have whiteboard capability, so it's kind of handy. Kind of here in the gallery, have the standard microwave, bank chargers for spare batteries, fridge, and then we kind of start to get into our 2 equipment racks. This is just, we have a cache of 10 all-band radios on board that sit here. This is a radio for Spirit aircraft, so we can talk with their people. This standard printer, and then below is just generic supplies. Firing up of the bus generally is all handled here, where we start the generator, put the slide outs out, and all that. And here's just some spare random equipment. It's all in boxes, but there's spare batteries, there's spare networking equipment here as well. So if we need to extend the network out of this unit into a building, we can do that as well. Because there have been times we've actually, we outgrow this. The Andover tornado was a prime example where it was overloaded in here. We have, Butler County and Sedgwick County and all these different agencies are all in here together, which is what it's designed for. We ultimately, that incident even outgrew this space. Back here in the rear was set up to do comms. This area was technically designed to provide a workspace for incident tactical dispatchers. That's never really come around. So I think long term we'll end up adding more computers, just additional desktops at these locations to provide just more workstations. Like I said, also have these monitors we can put kind of whatever on. This camera's outside, all that control from here as well. We do currently have Motorola MIP system on board, which is in this back cabinet. And then, let's see, it's not a fire, so we're good. But, and we can do additional patching here locally from within the unit. We have instant recall. We can place radios here, like at a wildland type incident where they can monitor the channels and take notes of what's all going on. So it's just another, and these have all been switched out to tri-band as well. We used to have just 3 800s, a UHF and a VHF, and then we kind of realized once we get out, we may need them all VHF or all UHF. So that's why we went ahead and just switched everything out. There is dispatch style headsets at each position here. You can go through that or just play it over the air or over the speakers. And that's the same for all 4 positions. Additional hookups back here on the table. And then back here is a couple of workstations. One of them right now is running our CAD monitor. This computer, as you see here, is running the mobile version or the PC version of the Wave system. So that's similar to like a dispatch console like what's here back here in the bus, but we can access this from any computer anywhere and basically make our own dispatch panel. Over here also, we wanted to incorporate all the communications that we could, and more so a lot of it's just for situational awareness, but we do have the capability we have AM aircraft radio there on board, and we also have a VHF, UHF ham radio as well. There's a few of us on the department that are ham radio operators, so we're trying to work to incorporate how we can do aux-comm and some of those things too, and incorporate those during disaster communications. We have a big plot printer here, and then we have a mixture of paper, so we can actually do it on really nice glossy photo paper if we need to, but we can do all kind, USAR grid maps. This is just a picture that was printed up from an incident we had at a gas facility.
For systems alarm of business, engine 1, engine 2, truck 1, your map page is 5447, operate on tack 1, tack.
Ops dispatcher at Battalion 2 to the systems alarm on these status please. City's kind of come around the last few years. We're getting a lot of more residential apartments down here in downtown, or we just didn't used to have. So we had a lot of fire alarm activations down here now, and all these residential high rises that we just, a lot of this was just all empty for years. So the city's kind of been transforming around.
Nothing showing. We'll be out investigating. Police will have OG. Copy that. Time 106, okay. Oh, he's trying to show me OG. Just one high rise. Never. Making our way to 11 now. Traffic on the elevator.
Head in the lobby.
Painters operating on 11. Dispatcher, truck 1. Go ahead. You can cancel one of the trucks, whichever's farthest, show truck 1 en route. Gosh, Battalion 1. I'm clear to run downtown on the route to the house fire. Cover.
Ops Battalion 2, same traffic. Clear the alarm on en route to the fire.
Cover. Ops Battalion 32, I'm in there since you already have 2 bats and troops around. Cover. Ops 196. You guys
Breeze on
keep
three.
trapped.
I've been chilling. One story thing.
Negative. We're out of the house now.
All incoming units from Engine 3. We have a fire that's contained in the stove. Just trying to remove the stove from the house right now.
Food on the stove.
And at one point, it said people trapped.
It did. I just happened to look back at the call information, and it had a T after it. For us, was indicates a trapped.
Engine 7, Octane, Engine 7 on system for us.
But then the narrative said the occupant had self-evacuated.
Okay.
So they must have balanced it en route
Rescue 2's here.
briefly, and then like as soon as they did that, they got the
Engine 3,
info that it was
Go ahead.
not trapped.
Okay.
Option 21. We're under control of 3103 North Market.
All right, so you got to see the inside of the field communications unit, and now we're in Wichita Fire's secret underground lair where all the rest of the communications equipment is. And the chief here is going to show us some next level communications and interoperability equipment, stuff I've never seen at a fire department at this level before. So take it away, Chief.
All right, we're like you and I were having a discussion in between coming from the Fieldcomm to here, where the bus is a great asset. The capabilities of that thing are immense, and we can do so much with it. But the reality is, it just doesn't always go out to everything. It's usually reserved for really large-scale disasters. But we run a lot of incidents in between that we need the capabilities of bus, but maybe not necessarily the bus. So kind of starting here, these, what's a total of 4 Pelican cases here, basically sums up the capabilities that we have within the bus in a portable solution. So this is Basecamp Connect. This is a company out of Canada. We just recently got this unit. It is the hub for all the communications. So this unit holds or has, again, FirstNet and Verizon on board, provides Wi-Fi. It can hook up, and I have cabling over here for multiple manufacturers of radios, either portable or mobile, where we can do our same type of scenario where we can patch channels together if we need to. This thing will do copper phones in, copper phones out. It has an IP phone system, kind of same as the bus. We can pump in, we can hook up satellite to this for internet to provide that. This unit has a phone number and an app that goes with it where individuals can call in from their phone and talk on the radios or monitor the radios or call the different workstations that can be attached to this. So yeah, this is kind of the hub. It does a little bit of everything. This is just an example of one of the IP phones that goes with it. This also has a built-in PoE switch in it that powers this and this unit over here. So same kind of deal too. If we could deploy this somewhere and extend off of it with a PoE powered access point and push the network into a building or somewhere else. This is a long range phone system that ties in with this. There's 4 long range handsets that same style of if you call in from the phone, it's just an extension off the system. You can monitor the radios. You can call back to the different workstations. This is just set up with the little portable antenna, but I can also hook up a higher gain base station style antenna to this to even get even more range. Untested, but the manufacturer says we can go 3,000 acres basically with these phones. So, and then they'll do simple, paging, PTT, talking back and forth. So that's the phones. Like I said too, this is all the cabling, all the different cables that we can tie into the box for Motorola. There's stuff in here for Motorola Business Class, Kenwood, BK, AM aircraft, just kind of any little thing we may need to tie into. We should have an interface cable for that. This kit is what I carry in my vehicle all the time. So I always have this capability with me. So yeah, this is all the stuff that's in my vehicle. Normally I hadn't set it up over here, but I also have computer manuals, all the free information. So that's usually what I had before. We did purchase some test equipment as well. This is Bird Sighthawk, which does antenna analyzing, cable analyzing. It'll tell you if there's a fault in the cabling and where it is, and some of that test equipment. We have a bunch of these. This is just the basic, in addition to the big box, just basic hotspots for FirstNet service. So we'll kind of go over here to our antenna system here. We have a total of 3 of these blue sky masts. They will go up approximately 35 feet. They have guide wires. We have grounding systems for them, kind of the whole 9 yards. We can even do a configuration like this. If we're putting it on the top of a building, we can just put a simple low. We don't have to go up, necessarily another 35 feet and just kind of set this up. We have all the capabilities to either stake it down on the ground. If it's concrete, we have tapcons and a hammer drill and all that where we can just screw it to the ground. And I just kind of put up some of our antennas that we have available. This is VHF, UHF, dual band. We have Yagis for directional if we need to for VHF, UHF, 7 and 800. The little antenna is just a kind of a wide range, 600 meg to 900 that we can use kind of to tie in with the box for the long range phone system if we want. And then there's multiple other ways you can utilize the mast. These are all the different adapters. We can even just put a simple mag mount antenna on this plate on the top of the mast and use a mag mount. There's multiple different adapters for mounting antennas. We have these base plates as well that we can either put an access point to, or we can put like a PTZ camera or whatever we need. So there's just a lot of different mounting options. So we have 2 of these that are kind of dedicated to the USAR side, and then we have one kind of specifically set up too for the wildland if we take that out. So kind of over here, these 2 cases is just kind of our CommT kit. For us, we kind of have to do both IT and comms. So there's kind of a mix of equipment in here. There's test tone trace kits, telecom kits, tools, networking equipment, network switches, patch cables, additional antenna, coax, just miscellaneous tools, kind of everything that we should need while we're out is kind of stored in these 2 cases. We do have a couple satellite phones that if we end up just getting somewhere with nothing, we can still have communications. This is a Viavi 8800. This is a piece of equipment we purchased to maintain our Motorola radios every year. So just like everything else, they need firmware updates. Everything's like a computer anymore. But the radios need, per the manufacturer spec, tuned and aligned once a year. So that's what this does, where you can just hook it up and it will optimize, the frequency response so it's not drifting around and get everything back to the way it was. And then there's multiple other things you can do with that. This is just kind of a quick deployment kit sometimes. That just, if we want to put 6 radios in here and a charger quick and throw it out with like our wildland task forces going out or something where they don't necessarily have to take the whole large cache with them. So this is our USAR multi-purpose disaster our cache of radios, excuse me. So this case is spare batteries and the holsters, the mics for the radios, and then we have 40 Motorola Apex tri-band radios. These are a little more unique than our normal frontline radios, as these have the additional feature set for Motorola to do front panel programming. So we can, and it's strictly conventional, either digital or analog, but if we end up getting somewhere, we can hand jam program these just like you would a BK or something else with conventional channels. So that's kind of the only thing that really makes these different from our normal day-to-day radios. This is what starts all of our kind of our Wildland cache, at least when it comes to comms equipment, where of course we have our cloning cables, accessories for our BK KNGs, cloning instructions. We have the big boost antennas if you want, or just a regular flexible one, mics. But we actually have a total of 9 BK radios for deployment for our people, and then if we need to hand them out as well to others. So, and then it has, of course, both the clamshells and rechargeable both. That's why we have these for the rechargeables on that. We do have a BK base station here that we can set up. It's currently hooked up to that high gain blue VHF antenna there. And same deal, we can just set this up with a simple mag mount too. Multiple options. So we try to tune these down. They don't particularly like mobiles on wildland incidents just because of the power. So we usually try not to, we have these turned down as far as the wattage. This case back here is kind of what houses this equipment in these antenna setups. This is the BK little portable rapid deployment repeater using 2 handhelds. So this is a solar panel. This is kind of a self-contained unit, kind of a similar setup, what you could get from the national cache. Same functionality, I would say, but we can do both VHF or UHF with this, or we can do crossband as well, VHF over to UHF, just like you would with a normal deployment repeater on wildland. Right now, we have them pre-programmed mainly for National Mutual Aid, so we can throw up a VTAC. Like right now, it's set on VTAC 33, so we can kind of set up our own National Mutual Aid. Same deal. We have the UHF version 2, where we could set up UCalls, UTACs, or something, and kind of have our own National Mutual Aid repeater with us. And then we can also, of course, order up freaks from the communications duty officer in Boise too, and use it in that manner as well. But like I said, this comes with same deal. You can just use simple mag mounts. We have these pole mount kits that go with it. Right now, it just has the mobile VHF on it with the ground plane kits. These are just the UHF version. If we so choose, we do have a cable where we can tie this in to the mobile. So if we ended up in a scenario where we needed the power to get that reach out there, which would be more local than anywhere else, we can bump up to 50 watts instead of 5 watts with a portable and just plug that in. In addition to this, we have some simpler antenna mast systems, kind of like you would find in the wildland community, as far as the 3 poles, setting them up, guide wires, stakes real quick. This just kind of happens to be just a little simple setup that all kind of came with this kit, with this repeater kit. So that's those. We do have these as well. This is just a quick deployment kit for VHF, just because all of our mobiles and a lot of our handhelds that are out in our operations we have dual band 7-800 and then UHF, but not necessarily the VHF capability. So like a scenario was we went to the troublesome fire in Colorado. We took Type 1 engines. I set this up. There's magnets, there's all kinds of power options where we can quickly throw in VHF mobile in any of our apparatus if we need it. So we have 10 of these. I said there's just another portable mast that's currently attached to the BK base station. This is our Fieldcomm portable repeaters. We have 6 of these in the department. Currently I carry one, and then we have 1 in each battalion vehicle, and then 1 in the Fieldcomm unit. This is basically for kind of exotic situations of where comms just aren't working, high-rise buildings, subterranean calls, especially out here with Spirit, with the aircraft industry. There's some buildings that just have zero coverage, where we can rapidly take this in, deploy it with simple mag mount antennas, the units on the inside, talk on the repeater channel, and then this radio will take all that and pump it back into our digital radio system. So we've had really good success with this in testing. There's a building over here that houses a lot of hazardous material, and comms are absolutely awful in it. And we just set this up just right in the doorway, and the guys could talk throughout the building with no issues and pumped it all right back out to our system. It can be a standalone repeater as well. You don't have to necessarily pump audio back into the system. These are smart in the ability that if 3 of them happen to come into a scene turned on, they all talk to each other. One says, hey, I'm the primary, I got this, and then we'll tell the other ones to turn off so you don't end up with a lot of interference. You can do some other unique things with these, like patching. I can patch multiple repeaters together using a simplex frequency. So if we're doing a long tunnel system or something like that, or even a wide area, you know, as you would go down the tunnel, you simply just change the repeater channel as you went down, or what part of the city you were in, and it would all talk together and still all pump that audio back to the outside. So these also come with, we have these Dakota Lithium 60 amp hour power boxes to power these for a period of 2 to 3 hours if we need to. And then in addition to that, each one of these comes with a solar panel, which we can attach solar power to the Dakota Lithium and then to the repeater to hopefully, in theory, have forever power, depending on how much load's going through the system. But so that's our portable kind of repeaters. And then kind of the last thing is over here is, we kind of talked about it in the bus. This is our ham radio disaster kind of go kit, where we have a Yaesu HF radio, and then we also have the same dual band 2 meter, 70 centimeter Yaesu mobile. And this is more for the USAR side of the house, because you get out and do a lot with Marine and HF go together just because of the distance it has to travel. But so this is kind of our just a little disaster kit. If we need to utilize ham radio operators, this equipment still has a place. We are very fortunate these days as far as technology, especially like the way satellites coming around with internet. But you always have to have a plan D, E, F, whatever down the line. And ham radio can provide that for us. It's not necessarily secure, but I can send a radio or an email through someone that happens to be hosting a server in Florida, or as long as there's someone that has a node up somewhere, we can send data or communicate. So I said it's kind of down the line, but it's I think it's still, ham radio still has a place in emergency communications today. So that's kind of what we have that kit for. So like I said, this is kind of all of our deployable assets that may or may not go with the bus. They may or may not go with me, depending on the assignment. And we can mix and match and kind of make it work with whatever we need. So we're just trying to put ourselves in a position where we are completely self-sustaining within the department as far as communications, where we're not having to rely on anybody else but ourselves to stay talking. So this communications itself is just such a huge part of the fire service. And it's so important to our role that we wanted, like I said, just to make sure we have all of our bases covered, and then we can take care of any incident, anything that kind of pops up or any curveball that's thrown at us. So, nope, we're very fortunate to have all this equipment. The city is very supportive. The fire chief is very supportive for us, and we have all this to provide also to others. Same with like the command bus. We want the bus to deploy. We want it. If someone else in the state has a large incident, we want to bring it to them or get it out for a hurricane or whatever. And same with this equipment. We're fortunate enough to have this equipment, and we would like to, share this with others if need be. They can just give us a call. I can bring out cache radios, a repeater, kind of whatever they need at an incident anywhere, in the state or wherever. So, but yep, so that's kind of all our stuff.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Some people might have questions about this. If they do, who should they reach out to? Or how should they do that?
They can reach out to me direct, just at my city emails, just nwoods@wichita.gov. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions on any of this equipment, comm stuff in general, anything about our bus. We've had some other agencies kind of come from time to time that are thinking about getting an asset like that and tour the bus. So if there are any agencies that want to come kind of take a look at what we got, we're more than happy to facilitate that. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.